What is up, guys? Welcome to this video. In this one, I'm going to be telling you what kind of information is important. Now, this is a very profound topic, and this video is going to be for anyone who wants to make a good sense of the world around them. Now, you might think that you already make good sense of the world around you, and I would recommend challenging that, because how can you be too sure about that? Everyone, if you've seen my last video, believes that they are right. This is a disease, really. It's a plague that has infected the human mind. Everyone likes to assume that their beliefs and their ideas are correct and anything that disagrees with them is wrong. Even though that kind of logic is obviously sort of stupid, we still behave in this way. Now, this is going to be not only pretty theoretical, but very practical as well. I'm going to be getting the best of both worlds. So this is going to go into even your ability to make money, your relationships, how you feel from moment to moment, day to day, how you handle feelings, etc., all the way to society, government, addiction, stuff like this. Now, the reason why I chose this information is not because I read some books and I liked this information. It's actually related to how humans evolve psychologically and what is actually healthy for the human mind. So there's a lot of information out there just floating around, and a lot of it is bullshit, and a lot of it is blatantly unhealthy information. A perfect example is a lot of conspiracy theories. This is just blatant delusion loaded with, sort of traps for your mind to fall into, ideological traps, and they're very appealing. They create a strong sense of us, the ones who know, and them, the ones who don't know, the ones who are asleep or stupid. It creates a strong sense of in-group and out-group, which the human psyche really loves to do. Now, I'm going to set some ground rules for what high-quality information sort of is. Just some blatant, some very obvious rules. Okay, so rule number one is no ideological or radicalized information at all. This cuts out a hell of a lot of information that's out there. This cuts off a lot of political analyses that are on the internet, cuts out a lot of even religious, even scientific. Every human philosophy and school of thought has some sort of radicalized form of it. Every single one is basically at war with each other. If you haven't noticed, I'm sure you have right now. People get very ideological, of course, over their politics or their religion, or even their science, and even sexuality. That's another one that's underrated in terms of how ideological it can get. Now, any information that is extremely ideological or radical in any way, radicalized, is immediately off the board. And this basically moves us into point two. All three of these rules go together. No information that is at war with another group at all. That's basically what I mean by ideological and radicalized information. It's this sort of we are right and everyone else is wrong sort of attitude. Now, this obviously is kind of foolish, or at least I hope it's obvious to you. Now, the third one is no information that says it is the one true perspective at all. These sort of go together. So I'm going to put them all together. So no ideological, radicalized information, no information that's at war with another person or group, and no information that says it's the one true perspective basically at all. None of this is acceptable. All of this is nonsense. This is all stupid. This is all basically hijacking certain networks within the human mind and basically giving them mindless garbage that, in a sense, turns them into just parroting dumb information. This kind of information just really, for some reason, the human psyche is just so attracted to this, especially mainly when it's at a low level of development. But this kind of information, this polarizing information, modern day humans love this garbage. And it's ridiculous. It's utterly stupid. It's really a sloppy way to make sense of the world. It's a very poor way to be able to think about the world around you. So no information like that whatsoever. All of that, scratch that. You want information that is open to new ideas, open to change, open to growth, that doesn't say that we're the only ones that are right and all of them are wrong. You want information that is understanding, open, compassionate, clear, and I guess I'll just move into the best kinds of information. So I actually came up with this video yesterday. I was just thinking, like I've read a lot of books. I've spent thousands of hours just meditating, reading, studying, listening to lectures, like a ridiculous amount of hours I've spent doing this. It's very unusual, actually. So I was thinking, like a person doesn't actually have to spend as much time that I've spent doing this work if they know exactly where to go right off the bat, and really they do. Thousands of hours of of work into your own psyche is very, very valuable. But really, like, you can save yourself a lot of time if you know directly where to go to, because really, when it comes to getting high quality information, no one really knows where to go to. This is very hard. We're just completely dominated by our sort of conditioning, our beliefs that we got from culture and the people around us, and they're all stupid. They're all wrong. Throw out your beliefs. There's no point. There's no point in bringing them here. We're going to destroy all of them here. Now, if basically a person actually knows where to go to get high quality information, this will save them a hell of a lot of time. Now, the first thing that I have to say is that this information relates to two things: your ability to survive and get your survival needs met in a healthy way and go beyond the ordinary survival perceptions of the human psyche. And these are absolutely mandatory for health. If you've seen my video, What is Health? And this is absolutely mandatory for understanding the world around you. Because when you're stuck in survival mode, truth and accuracy doesn't matter. The most important thing is what helps you to survive and your biases. This kind of sounds a little bit complex, but let's just get into the very important information that really can save a lot of people's lives, and we're never taught in school. We're never taught any of this through our friends or family. This is honestly a very rare video that you're somewhat lucky to even have stumbled upon. But I'll just get into it. So if I had to tell you 100 books to read, and I'll give you specific examples as well, but I'm going to give you general categories first, really. If I had to give you or tell you 100 books to read, I would say out of those 100, 10 books would have to be on relationships, intimate and friendships, basically socializing, dating, and attraction. These are completely crucial. These are absolutely crucial for getting basic connection needs met. This is like non-negotiable. And a lot of the information out there, like I said, sex is an extremely ideological topic. We have a lot of trauma around this topic. Humanity is really in the dark ages, in a sense. We are really primitive when it comes to our understanding of sexuality and even the sort of potentials that lie within human sexuality. Now, sexuality isn't just stimulation until you have some explosion, some sort of energetic explosion. There's actually a lot of personal growth that can happen within sexuality that is very advanced, but topic for another video. Now, this is essential, of course, because we need to learn how to get along to survive. We have to know how men work, how women work. What do both of them want? What is masculinity? What is femininity? Can a man be feminine? Can a woman be masculine? These are important questions to tackle, and we suck at thinking about them. There's a huge, basically, culture war, in a sense, just regarding this. Just basic things like this that really, if your mind is non-ideological, if you aren't deeply traumatized, if you have any inclination to be honest and get what's true, this really shouldn't take you too long to understand. Now, I'm going to help you with some books that'll really basically speed up your process of understanding in this category on relationships. Now, first, what you have to do is you got to look up a guy named David Deida. Okay, he has fantastic books on this topic. Okay, another good book, one specific one, is learning about attachment styles. I think it's just called Attached. That one's very good. Another good book is Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Another good book, I have it somewhere over here, is Getting the Love You Want. Here, let me actually pull this one out. This one right here. Getting the Love You Want. This information is completely crucial, and to me it's non-negotiable, because there's really two ways to learn how relationships work. You can learn from other people who have already been through it and have written books, or you can just make a lot of errors yourself and waste a lot of time. Now, of course, I would also recommend walking outside, talking to people, asking them questions, feeling their vibe, feeling the emotions that they're feeling, trying to just ask probing questions and be curious about what people like, what people want, how people, feel and think about the world around them. Whether people are more emotional, whether they're usually a bit more logical, whatever, or both. Now, basically, you have to get curious about people and how they work. You will have to deal with people for the rest of your life. There's no way around this. You have to get good at this. You have to become very competent in this area. Another good one is, damn it, where is this book? It's called Social Intelligence. I've not actually done this book at all yet. This is fantastic, though. Social Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. This is necessary. This is completely crucial. Now, so 10 books on relationships, dating, and attraction. This is extremely important. Another good book is Models by Mark Manson. This is important for men who want to learn how to attract women. But like I said, even David Deida. Just type in David Deida books on Google. You can find The Way of the Superior Man, Dear Lover, The Enlightened Sex Manual, It's a Guy Thing. These are all crucial. And all of these books have a sense of, well, not all of them, but most of them, like Getting the Love You Want, Attached, David Deida, there's a sort of therapeutic aspect to them, because when it comes to sexuality, what drives a lot of people is not love or like airy-fairy rainbows, we'll be together forever. It's not this. This is how it's advertised. It's total nonsense. What really drives people is dominantly feelings of deficiency, loneliness, fear, all their shadow, all their unconscious material. This dominantly drives people to get into relationships. It's kind of messed up, but this is a massive driver. Wanting to feel special, wanting to feel loved. This is the dominant thing right now. At this current time in humanity, this is what's driving a lot of people. It's really not these sort of idealistic delusions of how we're all going to love each other and we'll be together forever. This is really just not what's happening. It's dominantly based on survival, unfortunately. Now, of course, I'm not a total ass, but the idealistic ideas around romance are very nice. They're very nice to think. They're very imaginative, and they're sort of like a North Star, like a guiding force in what our relationships can be like. But we have to ask why they're not like that, why most relationships fail, why, if anything, love seems to be the most failed thing in humanity. It seems as though love and getting along is one of the biggest problems humanity has. We just can't seem to get along too well, and you really should boggle your mind as to why that is. So these books will help you out a lot. I recommend getting very curious about this. And I recommend doing an inquiry, an investigation into the actual emotions that drive you to get into relationships. I guarantee you a lot of it is stuff that you might not want to notice about yourself, because this is kind of what modern human civilization is. It's very loaded with a lot of shame, guilt, fear, insecurity. This is massive. This is huge, and it can't be ignored. Although it's very, very difficult to really get people to look at. It's completely essential. And this, I actually have a lot more to say about this whole topic of, I guess, trauma. That's actually coming later on in this video. But you get the point. Relationships, dating, socialization, attraction. Books on this are extremely essential, as well as just walking out, of course, talking to people, asking them questions. Just get curious about people. Walk up to your friends that are guys and girls. What do you guys think a high quality partner looks like? What are some high quality traits? Just get curious. The next one is 10 books on how to make money in a way you actually love. Now, unfortunately, not everyone in the world can make money doing things that they love. We just kind of haven't set it up that way. A lot of people are just going to be stuck, doing things that they don't entirely love. But you as an individual can most definitely do something you love and make money. This is definitely possible for you. You have to learn how. You have to learn the basics of marketing. You can get, what is this book over here? This is Marketing by Seth Godin. I have it right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's right here. This is Marketing by Seth Godin. You can even get Ken Robinson. I think that's his name. He has a lot of books on basically passion. He has The Element, Finding Your Element, this kind of stuff. So books basically on how to make money doing what you actually love. And this might involve developing a skill of some kind as well, like getting books on, let's say, of course you're going to need some basic marketing and, how to actually find your passion. You might need books, let's say, on, music or like creativity, something like that. You would have to look into that. Really, maybe I can boost this one up to 15 books, but it's not going to be exact. My numbers aren't going to be exact. It's going to be around 100 books, maybe 110, maybe even up to 120. Really, you got to read more than 100 books. But this one is crucial. That's really the main point of this sort of discussion, is that you have to learn how to actually make money doing what you love. You're going to get stuck doing something you hate otherwise. It's one or the other. Either you do what you're extremely passionate about, or you do something that you hate, and you have to figure out how to do that. And you actually have to be practical about it too. You have to think about it. You have to try new things. You have to read books, purchase the books, sit down and read the book. Actually do it, develop skills, ask people questions, look at people who have done or are doing the thing you like, and ask why were they so successful? What do they know that I don't? What do I need to be successful in this area? So this is very important. The next one is 10 books on developmental psychology and how humans evolve. This is massive. If your goal is to develop yourself to the highest possible potential that you have, there's no doubt in my mind that this is completely essential. This is so important, and absolutely no one knows this. For some reason, it's just very cringy how we have so much profound work on how mankind evolves, but it's just so, it's just not talked about. You don't find this in school. You're not going to find this walking down the street for the most part. And I'm going to give you a lot of good information. But yeah, this will basically help you to understand the potential that you yourself and mankind have. Because right now, no one really has, for the most part, the people around you have no idea what mankind is capable of. And I don't either. Neither do really you. But developmental psychology gives us a pretty good view of how profound this species actually is, and how, in a sense, deeply we squander our potential doing dumb stuff. Now, some good books to get you started on this, I can name a lot. But right off the bat, I'm going to recommend a man named Ken Wilber. You can get his book, Integral Psychology. You can even get A Theory of Everything. You can get The Eye of Spirit. Ken Wilber's books are fantastic for this, as well as Suzanne Cook-Greuter's Ego Development Theory. This is how the human identity evolves. You can even look at moral development theory. This is how human morals devolve. There's a book I have over here. I don't think you guys can see it. It's called Moral Development and Reality. People don't know that human morals actually evolve. People don't know that the human identity evolves. You can look at spiral dynamics. This is how human values evolve. People don't know human values evolve. You can read about cultural evolution. People don't know culture evolves. People don't know how that works. Logically, okay, yeah, there's like, it makes sense that, yeah, like there's like a growth to humanity, but what are the general trends? What are the patterns? What do these advanced people look like? How do I identify them? This is important. How do I become one? This is very important. You can look at Robert Keegan, The Evolving Self. That's a great book. There's a lot of fantastic information on developmental psychology that I think absolutely has to be read. This book right here, Reinventing Organizations, this one right here, is about how organizations evolve based off psychological development. This is completely essential. This is really going to help you get clear about what is happening in the world around me. Why do liberals and conservatives fight? Why does Coca-Cola care so much about profits but not about people's health? Why do these hippies love the forest, and why do these other groups of, construction workers of some kind, want to destroy the forest for money? Why are there people in tribes? Why do people value tribes? Why do natives value their tribes? Why do people value their traditions? Why are there warlords? Why do people actually commit acts of violence and they don't feel remorse? Why is that? Why are there people making videos on YouTube about how I have to read books? Why is this guy even doing this? Why are there apparently spiritually enlightened masters who claim to have absolute knowledge about reality? Why does that exist? Why is that there? What's happening here? So developmental psychology will, without a doubt, really transform how you view mankind. Now, there's a lot of different models, and there's a general trend that all of them are really agreeing upon. Like I said, there's ego development theory, moral development theory, spiral dynamics. There's other ones too. There's even Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but the hierarchy of needs is kind of a sort of bastardization of his work. If you actually read his work versus just looking at the hierarchy, very different things. His work is very complicated. I've been studying it for a bit of time now, and it's kind of sad to see how deeply we have sort of, in a sense, our culture has kind of made him seem like he's just this simple guy when he was a genius, really. So this information will really restructure how you think about humanity. It'll get you to also feel more compassion for people as well. You'll see why people believe the things they do, why they act the way they act, why they're stuck in the places that they're stuck at. And it'll really help you to just care more about your own personal growth, because you'll see what's possible for you. And once you know what's possible for you, and you really get a kind of a clear vision of that, it's harder to squander it, because you'll know for the rest of your life that you've just been squandering it. You'll know from here on out that you're squandering it. You're squandering your potential, and that you actually have to really do something about it. You have to learn what your potential even is. Okay, moving on is 15 books on spiritual enlightenment. Now, spiritual enlightenment is a complicated topic that I can't really get into in this video because it's too much. But this topic has nothing to do with dogma or ideology of any kind. And actually, people who are really into, not so much the people who are really into, but people who have really taken this all the way, these are the least ideological people, and these are people who understand how beliefs work more than anyone. I'm talking about guys like Adyashanti. You can get his book, Emptiness Dancing. Even Peter Ralston, The Book of Not Knowing. Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, and A New Earth are good as well. But even the collected works of Ramana Maharshi. So basically, what this will teach you is that your identity, who you take yourself to be, isn't quite real. It's not actually who and what you are. That your actual sense of self and identity is a conceptual construct. That there's something fundamental to you that is shared amongst everything in reality. Even Albert Einstein, if you look at the quantum mechanics, the fathers of quantum mechanics, Werner Heisenberg, Max Planck, Erwin Schrödinger, Niels Bohr, Albert Einstein, These people, of course, were onto this as well. These people are no fools. But even someone like Jesus, the Father and I are one. Buddhism is full of non-duality. That literally means not two. Now, there's a lot of great material on this subject. There's a lot of bullshit on this subject as well. There's a lot of stupid stuff in these weird spiritual cul-de-sacs that you can just get stuck in for 15 years and basically have your wheels spinning in the mud. That's why I'm here, to make sure you don't fall into that trap. Some guys who are fantastic for this are Frank Yang on YouTube. Frank Yang, fantastic guy. Another good one is Shinzen Young, The Science of Enlightenment, fantastic book. True Meditation by Adyashanti, another great book. Peter Ralston's work is fantastic. Ken Wilber's work goes into this as well. Also, there's one guy I forgot about. This is terrible. There's also Nisargadatta Maharaj. His book, I Am That. Ramana Maharshi's very good too. But there's one guy that I forgot about, and it's kind of bugging me now because I remembered. It's Simply Always Awake on YouTube. Angelo DeLullo. He has a book just called Awake. That's another fantastic book. Now, these books are what I'm talking about. These people are what I'm talking about. These people are actually at some of the highest levels of human development, the highest levels that we currently know of. These people are not ordinary people. These people are very psychologically advanced. And to be honest, these people are deeply misunderstood as well by many of the people who follow them and even people who read their books. Because to be at those stages is not normal. This is very advanced stuff that blasts right through the sort of modern paradigm, the way that we live, the way that we think, the way that we feel, the way that we relate. It really just blows a hole in all of it. These people have went way beyond their time. Sadhguru as well is another good example. The point of what I'm saying here isn't to take this on as belief of some stupid spiritual ideology. This is not radicalized ideological information. The whole point of spiritual enlightenment is to question every thought, every belief that you have, every feeling, to become fully conscious and clear about who and what you are, and to actually examine the depths of your own psyche and self-deception. This is the point of this work. In a nutshell, there's more. But 15 books on spiritual enlightenment and awakening. This is utterly essential for living a good life and evolving yourself to the highest levels that are possible for you. Without this, you'll hit a glass ceiling at one point. But I mean, that's probably kind of far away. Another really important set of books is 20 books on top quality science and systems thinking. Now, you get to watch me put on some chapstick because my lips are a bit dry. But 20 books on high quality science and systems thinking. Now, science is a tricky subject. A lot of scientists are very close-minded. They're very skeptical of other people's ideas, but in a sort of aggressive and attacking way. We don't want that kind of information. We do not want information that is at war with another group or set of beliefs. We want to understand the world, not attack it. That's incredibly important here. So some people I can basically give you are, check out Erwin Schrödinger, Albert Einstein, like I said, Niels Bohr. These guys are fantastic. But top quality science and systems thinking is insanely... So basically, from one point of view, everything in our life is determined by systems. The reason why I'm making this video is because I have a specific system, value system, identity system, moral system, all sorts of stuff, networks in my brain that are driving this. So our life is very deeply determined by systems, and we have to become aware of this and understand the behavior of systems to really take full control over our life. Our emotions work in a systemic way. I've made videos in the past on that. So without understanding systems, we'll be blind to how the world around us works. Everything is systemic. Now, your feelings are systemic. Everything revolves around, in our sort of relative world, the conditions we find ourselves in. Everything revolves around systems, whether it's politics, your health, your thoughts, belief systems, ecosystems, our environment, of course, how you make money. Everything is involved and connected to some kind of system. And this is insanely important to understand, or else you'll just hit your head against the wall in some area of your life. Now, some important books are Systems Thinking. I believe that's what it's called. Or is it Thinking in Systems, actually, by Donella Meadows. Another good one is Systems Thinking for Social Change. That one is very good. Systems Thinking for Social Change. Developmental psychology has a lot to do with systems thinking. Now, systems thinking is something that I'm going to go into depth in another video about. This is something I've studied for a long time, and it's quite stupid that most of mankind is really just in the dark about systems thinking, and they just can't think systemically. They just don't know how to do this. There's another good book called Leading with Strategic Thinking that talks about systems thinking. A lot of my books here, Transforming Your Leadership Culture, is huge. This book right here as well, Scale. This book is fantastic. The Universal Laws of Life, Growth, and Death in Organisms, Cities, and Companies. That's very good. But yeah, that's enough on systems thinking. So other top quality science includes quantum physics and the founders of quantum mechanics, like I said, Einstein, Niels Bohr, Schrödinger, Max Planck, Werner Heisenberg. Evolutionary psychology, so getting some context on where our species came from, why we are the way we are, why we like the foods we eat, salt, sugar, fat, protein. Why do we like these? Why do our taste buds, why do we like, why does this taste good to us? Why do we like the things we like? Why do we behave in the way that we behave? Evolutionary psychology does a fantastic job of explaining that and giving us context on our species. Why do women have the needs they have sexually, and why do men have the needs that they have sexually? Another good one is humanistic psychology. This is Abraham Maslow's field of psychology, which was fantastic. I would recommend Abraham Maslow. His book, Toward a Psychology of Being, is fantastic. This is basically, what does a self-actualized person look like and what are their qualities? Another great book is Transcend by Scott Barry Kaufman. This is basically all about humanistic psychology and beyond humanistic psychology, really. Another great one is a guy named Erich Fromm. Some of his books are right here. The Art of Loving, The Art of Being, and The Sane Society. Rollo May. Carl Rogers is fantastic as well. You can get his book, A Way of Being. And I think there's another one somewhere around here. Active Listening. That one's good, but I'd recommend The Way of Being. So humanistic psychology it's basically, what does a human look like at their highest potential? And basically understanding the whole of a human being rather than seeing them for parts, rather than seeing them as a collection of problems, a collection of neuroses. What is the whole of a human being? High quality biology would be next. I recommend Bruce Lipton, Rupert Sheldrake, even a lot of evolutionary psychology. Sort of the theory of evolution is biology and kind of psychology, really. They kind of go together. It's a strange mix, but I mean, it makes sense. But I would recommend one of Rupert Sheldrake's books is called Science Set Free, where he basically outlines some of the beliefs in science that, are unquestioned and drive science. That's a fantastic book. It's basically a lot of the dogmas of science, a lot of the beliefs of science that are very problematic and prevent us from doing a lot of high quality science. So high quality biology, high quality neuroscience. Neuroscience is really good. Learning the difference between the left and the right brain. This is fantastic. And I have this one right here. This book right here. Oh my God. Whole Brain Living. This is important. But enough on that one. Child psychology is extremely important, actually. This one is somewhat debatable, but it really isn't, because it's important to understand how kids work, because, you might have kids yourself one day, And it's important to learn how you worked as a kid, because you don't really understand how kids work. You really don't. You actually have to study this. You have to learn about, you have to actively study this. And this is extremely important because there's a lot of intelligence to a young kid. They're very pure, very innocent, very spontaneous, full of wonder. And why is that? And why does that usually go away when people become adults? And it's, instead of all those qualities, there's a lot more stress and depression, a lot of other problems. But kids are also very reactive. They get lonely easily. There's a lot of other things. So learning about child psychology and really, it'll give you insights onto how you were as a child, why you are the way you are now, and how kids are working, which is very important. We have to really shape up future generations to be healthy, happy, compassionate, full of understanding, and have a real love for life. And it seems as though we're failing at that because, suicide rates are fairly high amongst young people. So we are failing at that quite miserably. Some other stuff involves complexity, self-organization, and like I said, systems thinking. But you can read this book called Scale, and all these books can be found on like Amazon, Abe Books, Thrift Books. So, yeah. Hope you understand. Back to trauma. 15 books on psychotherapy, addiction, and mental health. Basically therapeutic work on yourself. Man, standing up is a bit difficult. I worked out my legs today, so I'm a bit tired. So Gabor Mate, I have some of his books right here. In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts, When the Body Says No. These are fantastic books. Also, Judith Blackstone. She has a book called Trauma and the Unbound Body. I would recommend a book called Bringing Your Shadow Out of the Dark by Robert Augustus Masters. Basically, psychotherapy, addiction, and really just understanding mental health and shadow work is essential because, like I said, this stuff actually drives a lot of your behavior. What drives a lot of people isn't really conscious decision making for the most part. A lot of it is our most stored deep down emotions that we are absolutely terrified of realizing that they even exist and are there in the first place. This drives a lot of people. Everyone, basically everyone, almost everyone for the most part. Unless you really went in there and you've like consciously looked at this stuff for a long time and have really cleaned yourself up. But basically a lot of our loneliness drives us, a lot of our feelings of deficiency, lack of self-esteem, lack of belongingness, a lot of feelings of insecurity and a lack of safety drives us to want to get more safety, more self-esteem, more belongingness, get relationships, feel special. So our senses of lack drive us to do a lot of the things we do in our life, and it's important to investigate why those are there in the first place and why they can't really seem to go away too easily. Like when we get the thing we want, it's not very long before we get bored of it or some other feeling arises and we want something else now. And, why is it like this? What's going on here? So doing psychotherapy on yourself is completely necessary for basically well-being, psychological well-being, and everyone really needs it. Basically everyone needs it. It's not really accepted that basically everyone needs a lot of therapy. Like the more you read books on psychotherapy, the more you really learn how important it is. I recommend a book called No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz. That book will absolutely change your life. Gabor Mate is fantastic. And even addiction. We all have addictions. We overeat way too much in Western civilization. We get bored. The one way that we cope with our boredom is just eating. So, there's a trauma there driving us to overeat. We have a lot of strange addictive tendencies, like our phone, our computers. Obviously drugs. That's an obvious one. But a lot of things that people won't even consider addictions, like checking our email too much. Why do you check your email so many times a day? Oh, I have to for work. It's important for work. Yeah, but you don't have to check it, once every hour. Why do you scroll on Instagram so much? So a lot of our boredom, a lot of our senses of insecurity drive us to do a lot of addictive behaviors that, distract us from what's actually happening inside of us. And basically, this makes us feel numb, makes us feel lethargic, makes us feel dull, makes us feel like we're not alive. And actually, at the bottom of it, our fear of death really drives us a lot. I have a great book right here. It's called The Denial of Death by Ernest Becker. And this is all about how the human psyche likes to deny death and sort of bypass it and push it away, and how it actually is just kind of buried under the surface, and really this terror of death is underneath basically everyone to varying degrees. Some people have cleaned it up a lot more. But this terror of dying drives a lot of us to do a lot of the things that we do. And we're not conscious of it. We're just not conscious of it. We don't read about it. We don't examine ourselves. We don't do meditation or meditation retreats. We don't do psychotherapy. So how the hell are you even supposed to know what's going on inside of you when you don't dedicate a lot of time to figuring that out? That's not an easy thing to figure out. Next is 15 books on society, politics, how we got to where we are today, and why people are in the groups they are in. Basically, society, politics, and what's happening in basically mankind. Now, a fantastic book for that is right here. The Righteous Mind by Jonathan, I cannot say his last name. It's Haidt. I can't say his last name. Haidt, something like that. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But that's a very good one. Ken Wilber, once again, Ken Wilber, The Eye of Spirit, Integral Psychology, No Boundary, A Theory of Everything. These are fantastic books for understanding this stuff. Developmental psychology does a great job of that as well. So really all this stuff goes together, which I'm going to talk about at the end of the video. Some other good stuff. What do I got going on around here? Noam Chomsky is actually very good for that as well. But there's a lot of stuff you can really read on this. The Dawn of Everything is fantastic. But Ken Wilber will really help you out a lot. I would very deeply recommend looking at Ken Wilber. And that's basically The Sane Society by Erich Fromm. I'm going to say that one more time. The Sane Society. The Sane Society by Erich Fromm, one of the humanistic psychologists I was talking about earlier. That one is very good. Robert Keegan, a lot of these books are some of the highest quality stuff they basically are the highest quality stuff that you can get your hands on. Really, learning how mankind evolves will save you a lot of confusion and just delusion in general. This will prevent you from getting stuck in certain places. Cultural evolution. I'll be right back. This one right here. Cultural Evolution. People's Motivations Are Changing and Reshaping the World by Ronald Inglehart. This one's fantastic. It's not even a long read. It's not that many pages. It's 240, 220. So there's a lot of books to read, basically on society, politics, and this is not impractical. This is the world you live in. You have to understand it, or else you're screwed, or else you're completely screwed. You have to understand why society is the way it is. Evolutionary psychology also helps with a lot of that. There's one book right here. It's this one right here, Spent by Jeffrey Miller. It's Sex, Evolution, and Consumer Behavior. This is insanely important. So why is society the way it is? This is insanely, you live in society. You have to understand it, because it's not like you don't have beliefs about how society works. You basically have the default garbage that culture and school, your parents and your friends and the internet gave to you. You have to do hard and honest research and be willing to throw out a lot of your ideas and beliefs. This work requires a very sincere and honest heart. You have to be willing to throw away your beliefs and throw away your ideas in favor of what is accurate, what is healthy, what is honest, what is true, how things actually work. This is insanely important. You're not going to find high quality information for the most part in most places in society. You're going to find belief systems. You're going to find people struggling against each other. You're going to find people who are very ideological and who are very close-minded. So I'd recommend reading a wide variety of books. Read books on the liberal psyche. Jonathan Haidt, I don't know if that's his last name. The Righteous Mind is fantastic for that. It's basically why does politics divide people? How does the liberal psyche work? How does the conservative psyche work? This is insanely important. Really, I don't even want to convince you of the value of doing this. It's too radical. This will just save you so much time and so much energy. And it's so easy nowadays to get sucked into some really stupid belief system in, regards to how our countries are ran or how it should be. It's just too easy to just get involved in some low quality crap that you see on the internet. So I guess that's enough books on that subject. The last topic is 5 books of your personal choosing. Whether it's creativity, art, personality differences, or whatever. Now, all of this adds up to 100 books, but really you need to read more than 100 books. But if you were to read 100 books basically on the stuff that I just gave you, this would add so much clarity to your life that you currently don't even understand. I have been doing this work for years, and it sounds very arrogant, but the things that I'm able to see are just things that other people are completely unable to see. Not because I'm some mega genius, but because I actually care enough to sit down, read, write, contemplate, and not just fall prey to some belief system just because, whatever, I'm angry and I want society to be this way or that way. It's that I have a very honest and sincere heart when it comes to discovering what is true. And this is a painful process, actually. It's by no means an easy thing to do, to really uproot a lot of your beliefs and really investigate them and really reframe how you think about the world, what you think the world is, how you should relate to the world. This all gets changed. Your relationship to the world changes. Some stuff that's not mentioned here is basically exercise and diet. That would be very helpful to learn more about. Although I can't mention everything, generally, this information is the highest quality information that you can really stumble upon on the internet, or anywhere really, almost basically on the face of this planet. Just to run through the information one more time, what is it? It's relationships, dating, attraction, and socializing, making money, providing for yourself in a healthy way that you care about and find meaningful, find purpose in, and enjoy. Developmental psychology and how humans evolve, how humans psychologically grow. 15 books on spiritual enlightenment and basically how your psyche deludes itself and misperceives reality. That's really what spiritual enlightenment is about, is to perceive reality in a clear way. And I've given you enough information on that. 20 books on top quality science and systems thinking. Moving on to psychotherapy, addiction, and mental health. And then society, politics, and then 5 of your choosing. This is some of the most important information that you can ever get your hands on. And really, I would highly recommend, if you're confused, leaving a comment down below. And I'll help you out. I can help you out with where to get started. You can even book a free call with me. I'll help you out. Now, this stuff, if you've never done any of the work I'm talking about, is really worth your time if you care about developing yourself to a very high level of consciousness, high level of psychological development. This is absolutely essential. Now, moving on. Lastly, it's important to notice how all of this comes together. Every category that I've talked about here is not a separate thing from any other category. Addiction, systems thinking, spiritual enlightenment, science, relationships, making money. All of this comes together. Everything here comes together. This is all about being healthy and being well in life. You can see it really within that framework. You can even say it's about what's true, being honest. This all goes together. What's true and what's healthy really go together. Because basically truth is what is real, what is actually the case. And to deny what is actually the case is a sort of dysfunction. You're at odds with something, you're fighting, you're struggling, you don't feel well with something. So every category here is basically moving together. They're not like distinct or at odds or fighting with one another. They actually fit well together and can all be integrated into a human mind in an organized and well-functioning way. Now, if you actually take action on what I've said in this video, all of this information will all build together, and it'll give you a great idea of where mankind, society, and even where the universe is heading to in the future. Where are we going? Like, what is mankind about? What is reality? What was reality about? What is society? What's happening? How does all of this evolve? There's an actual evolution to the world that we live in. There's an impulse for this species to become more conscious, to become more, like I've said too many times now, evolved. We have a very natural tendency to grow ourselves and expand. Now, this is very radical information, and if you have any questions whatsoever, let me know in the comment section below. But this is insanely top tier quality information. But I've said that too many times now, it's got to be a pain in the ass. So take it easy. If you have any questions, let me know, I'll answer. See ya.